Hi all, KTU PhD Entrance Exam Research Methodology എന്ന സബ്ജക്റ്റിൻ്റെ സിലബസ് പോർഷൻസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ വീഡിയോയിൽ നോക്കുന്നത്. സിലബസ് പോർഷൻസും അതിനോടനുബന്ധിച്ചുള്ള മോഡൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും ആണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. ഈ വീഡിയോയിൽ നമ്മൾ ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ സർവേ വരെയുള്ള പോർഷൻസ് ആയിരിക്കും നോക്കുന്നത്. So, introduction to research. Research is the systematic process of collecting and analyzing information or data in order to increase our understanding of the phenomenon about which we are concerned or interested. The purpose of research is to discover answers through the application of scientific procedures. The objectives of research include: first one is to gain familiarity with a phenomenon or to achieve new insights into it. Then such type of research is known as exploratory or formulative research. Then next is to portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual situation or a group. Then that type of research is descriptive research. Next is to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it is associated with something else. Then such type of research is said to be diagnostic research. Next, to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between the variables, then it is a type of research like hypothesis testing research. Next, the types of research. The types of research include: first category is descriptive versus analytical research. Descriptive research is a fact-finding investigation which is aimed at describing the characteristics of individual, situation, or a group, or describing the state of affairs as it exists at present. Next is analytical research. Is primarily concerned with testing hypotheses and specifying and interpreting relationships by analyzing the facts or information already available. Next comes the applied versus fundamental research. Applied research, also known as action research, is carried out to find a solution to a real-life problem requiring an action or policy decision. Next is fundamental research. It is also known as basic or prior research. It is undertaken for the sake of knowledge without any intention to apply it in practice. It is undertaken out of intellectual curiosity and is not necessarily problem-oriented. Next type is quantitative versus qualitative research. Quantitative research is employed for measuring the quantity or amount of a particular phenomena by the use of statistical analysis. Qualitative research is a non-quantitative type of analysis which is aimed at finding out the quality of a particular phenomenon. Next comes the conceptual versus empirical research. Conceptual research is generally used by philosophers and thinkers to develop new concepts or to reinterpret existing ones. Next comes the empirical research. Empirical research is a data-based research which depends on experience or observation alone. It is aimed at coming up with conclusions without due regard for system and theory. Next, some other types of research include: first one is one-time research, research confined to a single time period. Then longitudinal research, research carried out over several time periods. Then diagnostic research, it is also known as clinical research, which aims at identifying the causes of a problem, frequency with which it occurs, and the possible solutions for it. Exploratory research. It is the preliminary study of an unfamiliar problem about which the researcher has little or no knowledge. It is aimed to gain familiarity with the problem, to generate new ideas, or to make precise formulation of the problem. Hence, it is also known as formulative research. Then comes the experimental research. It is designed to assess the effect of one particular variable on a phenomenon by keeping the other variables constant or controlled. Next comes the historical research. It is a study of past records and other information sources with a view to find the origin and development of a phenomenon and to discover the trend in the past in order to understand the present and to anticipate the future. Next, identifying and defining research problem. The term problem means question or issue to be examined. Research problem refers to some difficulty or need which a researcher experiences in the context of either theoretical or practical situation and wants to obtain a solution for the same. The first step in the research process that is the definition of the problem, and which include two activities, that is identification or selection of the problem, then formulation of the problem. First is identification or selection of the problem. This step involves identification of a few problems and select one out of them after evaluating the alternatives against certain selection criteria. Then formulation of the problem. Formulation is a process of refining the research ideas into research questions and objectives. Formulation means translating and transforming the selected research problem or topic or idea into a scientifically researchable question. It is concerned with specifying exactly what the research problem is. Next, the process involved in defining the problem. First is to state the problem in a general way. Next, understanding the nature of the problem. Okay. Then survey, that is the literature survey to be performed. Then developing ideas through discussions. And finally, rephrasing the research problem. Next, the characteristics of a good research. A good research originates with a question or a problem. Then a good research requires clear articulation of a goal. And good research follows a specific plan or procedure. Then a good research often divides the main problem into sub-problems. Then a good research guided by specific problem, question or hypothesis. A good research accepts certain critical assumptions. Then good research requires collection and interpretation of the data. And finally, good research is a cyclical or helical in nature. And next comes the literature review. So literature review is the documentation of a comprehensive review of the published and unpublished work from secondary sources of data in the areas of specific interest to the researcher. The main aim is to find out the problems that are already investigated and those that need further investigation. It is an extensive survey of all available past studies relevant to the field of investigation. It gives us knowledge about what others have found out in the related field of study and how they have done so. Next, the purpose of literature review. So the purpose is to gain a background knowledge of the research topic, then to identify the concepts relating to it, potential relationship between them, and to formulate researchable hypothesis. Then to identify appropriate methodology, research design, methods of measuring concepts, techniques of analysis, okay? And then to identify data sources used by other researchers, then to learn how others structured their reports. And finally, how to conduct the literature survey. So to conduct the literature survey, first step is identify the relevant sources. Then extract and record relevant information from that. And finally, write up the literature review. Okay, so this is about the literature review. Now we will move on to some model questions. First question, a research intends to explore the result of possible factors for the organization of effective midday meal interventions. Which research method will be most appropriate for this study? So the answer is for ex post facto method. Next, which of the following does not correspond to characteristics of research? The answer is option D, that is research is not a process. Remaining are the characteristics of research. Next, what does the longitudinal research approach actually deal with? Deal with long-term research. Next, what is the main aim of interdisciplinary research? The main aim of interdisciplinary research is to bring out the holistic approach to research. Next, a researcher is interested in studying the prospects of a particular political party in an urban area. So, what tool should he prefer for the study? So, of course, it is a questionnaire. Then, conclusion or findings of which type of research cannot be generalized to other situations. So, that the answer is historical research. Then how to judge the depth of any research? The depth of any research can be judged by research objectives. Then action research can be understood as a kind of research being carried out to solve a specific problem. Then Dash is referred to as the father of research on teaching. The answer is N.L. Gage. Then the main purpose of research in education is to, the answer is help the candidate become an eminent educationist. Next question, that refers to inferring about the whole population based on the observations made on a small part. And the answer is inductive inference. So inductive inference refers to inferring about the whole population based on the observations made on a small part. Next, applied research is also called contractual research. Then basic research or pure research is also known as fundamental research. Next, these are some researches and their purpose. Applied research means it is used for finding solution of an immediate problem. Then fundamental research means it is used for gathering knowledge, skill. Then longitudinal research, the purpose is it is used as a research carried on several time periods. Then descriptive research, it is a fact-finding inquiry of social events and system. Then qualitative research means it's a research based on data. Then research pertaining to pure mathematics or natural laws is an example of which research? Fundamental research. Then research related to abstract ideas or concept is related to which type of research? Conceptual research. Then descriptive research is also known as statistical research. Then process not included in the experimental research is reference collection. Then research to study the effect of certain policies, plans and programs is evaluation research. Next, the study of cause and effect relationship between variables is done by causal research. Manipulation is always a part of which research? That is experimental research. With this we will wind up. Thank you.